It's about to go down.
You are listening to WPRD 98.3 Khxng Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com and hosted by
You are listening to the incredible
Nova Phoenix and LK Mason.
I could stay like this, forever following you. Just don't get too far, and I'll be right where you are. You're a dream that I could finally see. I just want us to always be, to always be. Let's stay here. Let's stay here in love. Let's stay here. Let's stay here in
Listen up. Turn up.
You're listening to Khxng Radio.
This is WPRD 98.3 Khxng Radio. We are back for the 12th show. We're here to bring some good convo. What's up, Latasha?
What's up? What's up? Now, why you keep calling me Latasha? My name's LK Mason.
Okay, let's go with LK. My bad. Let's do LK. What up, LK? What up?
What it be like?
So, my home, you know what I mean?
How you doing?
What up? Okay, we go with LK, man.
Okay,
all right.
Yeah,
So LK got her website rocking. Zane of the Braves out. It's rocking and rolling, man.
Yeah, getting a lot of hits, getting a lot of new followers on Facebook.
That's right, getting some shares. I see.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So we still pumping that promo, huh?
Still pumping that promo. We now have some patches that are going to be for sale on the website, www.xanadbraid.com. They're iron-on patches that go really well if you want to add it onto your bomber jacket or your shirt or your jeans or hat or whatever. You can hook it up.
Are we still online for the book to drop in Christmas season?
That's what we're shooting towards, man. But I want this to be the best that I can possibly make it for the kids. I want it to be inspirational, motivational, and I want it to be impactful. So I'm not going to rush it, but my goal is to have it out for Christmas.
Okay, boom, let's make it happen. You know what I mean? I see big things, especially a cartoon, man. Every time I look at these pictures, I think that's something that should be a cartoon, straight up.
Yes. That's
especially when
you're
talking about a lot of issues for kids. Yeah, man. So, yeah. So we are gonna go hit it off with this topic for today, and the first one is the music business, man. So we got, and it kind of came from artists that Usher just recently dropped a new album. I think it's called A. He dropped it a couple nights ago.
Yes. What's up, Usher?
That's what's up, man. I gotta give it a listen. There's a couple albums I gotta buy. I got Eminem. I got Lil Wayne. There are a couple people that dropped some joints. But anyway, so Tiana Taylor I got. So Usher is up next. And I noticed that the trend is, which you could give it up and give credit to Beyonce for doing it. Now artists are just straight up just dropping albums with no marketing. They're like, well, 12 o'clock midnight. The way communication is set up now, instead of these press releases, social media is now the medium to get the word out. Things like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, market. And now people direct access to your market, so they be like dropping the album tonight. people be on it, like, you know what I mean? So they'll go cop this. So it just made me think. I'm like, wow, the music business as we know it has changed as far as what artists can do on their own, and it just gets me like, why are artists still kind of signing label deals? Because, and this is not something that's new today. I mean, artists been kind of taking on a lot of the weight of getting their product out there, especially for the major record labels that signed a deal but weren't too sold on their artists and the music they gave. And how many stories have you heard where artists have brought their stuff to the record label or have been signed, sitting on the shelf, and eventually they just did it on their own, and they pushed their records out to the audience and they became a smash hit. Now all of a sudden the label's like, hey, yeah, sure, let's get behind this project. And straight up, I'm sure that's how they talk. Oh, I'm sure. So, it came out, started as the boutique labels and, it's production deals. And, the producer, whoever was hot at the time, had artists and they put them out. And, you had distribution deals where, the artists were pretty much the label, so all they needed was distribution to get it out in stores and different places. Now, of course, with the with internet and how we know it is today with iTunes, you don't even have to worry about distribution of artists thinking about, damn, I don't even have to press up records or CDs. Now it's just like, iTunes and Spotify and SoundCloud, and even though already know my feelings about music streaming, now artists are pretty much truly independent. Like, they could literally drop an album, put it out, people grab them, purchases it, or streams it, or whatever the case may be. They go set up their tour. I don't understand why artists are not kind of taking hold of their business. Now, it's funny you say one more thing. So I was looking on IG and I saw a promo and the guy was like, yo, it sucks. I'm an artist and it doesn't pay to do shows anymore. And he was kind of right, because he was saying what he was saying, and he set up the scenario in his argument, or what he was promoting, saying, his boy would say, yo, you got like 1 million streams on SoundCloud. Why aren't you doing more shows? And he said it doesn't monetarily make sense, because why am I going to go sell tickets on my own to be on your show, to open up for you, to only get get 25, 50 people in there, and I have to pay a sound engineer, I have to pay for my people to come in, my DJ, I got to pay for all these things, and I'm got to put out money $400 or $500 in order for me just to get 50 people in the room to hear my record, and I already have a million streams already, or 500,000 streams. And I say, yeah, you know what, that makes sense. And he says what you have to do is not think like an artist anymore. You have to think as an entrepreneur, think as a businessman. Artists keep on thinking like it was back in the day and they have a machine that's just gonna do it for them. That doesn't exist anymore. So why aren't artists more or why are they taking hold of the business and of the music business? What do you think, Latasha?
I don't know. Maybe it's just not something they're not accustomed to. Maybe they don't have that business savvy, to know what to do. Sometimes in any, entrepreneurship or business type project, if you don't know where to begin, a lot of people just don't start, so they stick to whatever has been working. They're afraid to try new things because they don't know where to go. That's the only answer, I can have for that. I really don't know. And then I also, just in working with my book, it's difficult being the artist and the business person. So, you have to represent yourself, you have to conduct business deals and stuff, but then you also have to be, you have to be creative. And it's difficult to be creative when your mind is always on business. So you have to still have those people who can kind of, guide you through and handle business for you. And so you have to pay those people. And it's like you're running yourself, or you're treating yourself as a brand, and you have to run your own business. So maybe some people just don't have, I don't know, maybe they don't have that business experience or that business savvy. They're just that creative person. We're all blessed with different gifts and talents. We don't have it all,
So why don't they just bring on people they may not personally know that they met along the way to say, hey man, do me a favor, take care of this business for me. And you could run, I don't know, X records, and I'm going to put out my music and you just handle the business. I'm going to go out there and take care of it. And if you can, just be the man in the chair.
Right, because it's different. Like, it's expensive.
It's starting
different
out.
Than you have this big company, this big label who's fronting all of this money, and then when they make money, they take that money back and you get whatever percentage that you agreed upon or whatever. When you're independent, you're fronting all that money yourself. So you have to pay for your stylist, you have to pay for your band, you have to pay for, your video and your videographer and your engineers and all of that stuff. And that costs money. And so, I remember, and you may have been on that call when I did, if you don't know, I work with singer and actor, mega box hit actor Tyrese Gibson. One of the things that I do for him are media days. And in one of those calls, when we were having a discussion with journalists, writers, and bloggers, one of the bloggers straight out asked him, man, why didn't you do a video for, I can't remember what song he asked about. He was like, that's my joint. How come you didn't do a video for that? And Tyrese was just honest with him. He said, man, I'm going to just tell you the truth. I ran out of money. He said, that's just flat out what happened. I ran out of money. He said it's expensive to go independent.
Right. Yeah, man. Yeah. That is the truth. That is the truth. If it's got to be, yeah. My thing is, it's got to be way where we can streamline it. You know what I mean? Streamline the costs, see what works. Because when you're I know. I hear you. As on an independent level, and when you're just starting out, I get it. A lot of it is just living by the passion, and because you all see like, oh man, when we get to this, so it's a love of the business. But when it becomes a business side, no doubt, I feel where T's coming from. He's like, yo man, the money ran out. It is what it is, and. Sometimes I got to think like, is there a way where, things are not as expensive? Because my thing is like, I hear Remy Ma, she signed a label. I'm like, did she have to do that? Because my thing is, she already has a name that she built. You know, after she came out, she was rocking with Fat Joe, and she came out with a couple of hot singles. And I'm like, yo, I know she's putting in some revenue streams. You know, revenue streams are coming back. Is there a way where she can just hire somebody like $1,000 a week or $800 a week, saying, hey, do me a favor, sit in this chair and answer the phone calls? Like, even if I know she was like, well, I got a tour, I got to do all this. And no doubt, is there a way to kind of like, you know, being realistic, sitting down, looking what your numbers are as a business instead of an artist, and say, okay,
well, I'm sure people did look at it
dollars.
And it just seemed more beneficial.
Forgive my ignorance. Go ahead. You're right.
Huh?
I was going to say, forgive my ignorance. Maybe I don't know everything about it.
Right. I'm pretty sure they looked at it and said, oh, these numbers work for us. Let's go ahead and take this deal. You know? Because different artists have actually, and I can't remember who, I don't know if it was Ludacris. I remember seeing some interviews and they, you know, spoke about this a little bit. You know, a lot of them do begin in becoming, you know, start out independent so that they can get those numbers, and those numbers become appealing to the record labels, and you know, depending on how big those numbers are, the bigger the amount of money they're willing to give you, or the greater amount of money. And so if you're doing big numbers independent, they're like, wow, if they're doing this and they don't even have this big marketing machine behind them, they don't even have, you know, the funds behind them that we could put behind them, we know what kind of numbers they can do, you know?
Right.
So
but look at MC Hammer. My man was putting on a whole dance troupe and paying out of his pocket for them back in the day when I don't know.
But he wasn't independent though.
Oh yeah, you're right. He wasn't independent at the time, but he did say when the TV show came out, he was like, he went broke because he was coming out of pocket, putting them all them people on the road. So and that was more the extravaganza of MC Hammer doing his thing. But I was thinking, maybe if you just scale back, you know, because I think of it like this, and forgive me, again, my ignorance. You're making a certain amount of money, say you're making $70,000 or $50,000 a month on your music just selling, not including touring. And then, okay, you're going to have to pay your road manager. You're going to have to pay your stylist. You're going to have to pay your costume. You may have dancers, whatever those numbers are. You're going to itemize all those things. Now, you're not going to handle the business because you got to perform. So how about how much would you pay somebody to be the man in the chair? And sometimes the man in the chair is the manager, but, you know, somebody's going to run the day-to-day operations of X records. And then, okay, listen, take the calls and kind of like expand on opportunities. And then that, based on the next opportunity, say you do an endorsement deal. Okay, wow, I just got $500,000 from the endorsement deal. Whatever taxes you got to pay, now throw that in the bank. Then you could take a section of that and say, okay, look, that's going to go, I know that's going to, for the year, I have these expenses that's going to hold me down. And then that, again, I'm saying from a practical sense, how can you run a business and be an artist at the same time and not have to kind of loan yourself out to record labels? So I've always, again, I'm not in the hunt with Usher and Jay-Z or Cardi B to see what money is coming in and coming out. I only see I used to be an artist many years ago, so, you know, and reading music business books and all these things, and I'm like, wow, why aren't they got the publishing, they got the touring, and I know, of course, you got to think of all the expenses, and they got the mechanical royalties from their CDs, and if you're hitting it hard, you can make a couple million. All right, cool. Where is the disconnect on how we can put people around us to run that business instead of Island Def Jam coming to you and say, yo, I could give you X amount of money. You already selling a whole lot of stuff. If I give you this, you could be much more big.
They come with more than just the money. They come with all of these people that they've hired. They have all of these people that are experienced.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what a label comes with. Yeah, you kind of have to be a Beyonce or somebody big like that to be able to be independent. And she has this mega fan base that is global. She wants to be independent. I'm pretty sure she can.
And Remy can't do that. You don't think Cardi can do that?
They'll have to hire people. I don't think they're pulling in numbers that Beyonce is, are they? They don't have. Yeah, I don't.
She getting awards, Cardi, but I don't know about her money. Her money flow. I don't know. I think my personal opinion is I think it could be done. If you just sit down and kind of like
if you,
put down the weed,
you
put
gotta
down
have the right team
cognac,
around you.
and
You have
just
to have
like,
the
you know
people
what?
who have those skill sets. It's about knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, and so you have to be able to pay those people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Kris Jenner. You know, she runs everything with their family, and,
Right,
she has those skill sets. Everybody's mama don't have that. You know.
Yeah. But they do gotta, put down the weed for a second, just. Because I understand, I know the artist
It is
lifestyle.
about your
I know
team,
artist
man.
lifestyle,
I mean,
Yo, smoke this, kid, smoke this.
People, you can hustle and you can bust your butt and you can try to get the job done, but you also have to understand that you cannot do it by yourself. And like I said, working with my book project, I was like, oh no, I need help. I cannot do this by myself. I do a lot of this work for Tyrese, but I cannot do it myself. I can't be the artist and the business, mind. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Well, you should never say can't.
You never say can't, right?
You need help, though.
Supposedly Macklemore did it, and Chance the Rapper, and a lot of other people on the independent level. So I don't know their structure. So, but I'm just thinking.
But aren't they now signed?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see. All right. So what's the first song of the day? I don't even have that up.
So we're going back to me announcing it?
That would be nice.
So first up, we have Monie and Meek from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Way Back.
Woohoo! Okay, let's go.
I love this song.
I just wanna know what you think about it, honey. If we don't make plans and we just, like old school friends who just say, let's go, let's go. Will you come to me? Yeah, come to me, yeah. Tell me you'll still come to me, yeah, come to me, yeah. 'Cause I bet there's things that you know and things you do to make sure I explode. Touch me like that. When you touch me like that, touch me like we go way back. Like we go way back. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Khxng exclusive.
Like we go way back. Touch me like we go way back. Like we go way back. Way back.
Way back. There was this girl that I waved at. Always had a smile like a Kodak. Old school shorty, call her throwback. Play these throwbacks while we backtrack. Sip on cognac while she throw that back for me. Clap for me. Take it back for me. Do that for me. Just like that. That right there. Scream my name while I pull your hair. Take your time. Lose your mind. We'll be fine. Yeah, we'll be fine.
When you touch me like that. When you touch me like that. Touch me like we go way back. Like we go way back. Touch me like we go way back. Like we go way back. Way back.
This is Khxng Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com. Come join, be a lyfer. Practice dollar power and build financial independence.
Oh, we are back. We just heard Monie and Meek's Way Back. That's what I'm talking about. I like to mix up some sounds on here. Eventually, I would like to get some world tunes in there from different regions of the earth. That's what it's about. But eventually, we'll get into that when we start stretching out into different markets. So the second topic of the segment is just recently heard about this guy named Dennis Hoff. He passed away around 76. Dennis Hoff was the owner of several brothels in Nevada. And a lot of people partied with this dude, and a lot of people didn't like what he was about. But it is what it is. And I saw a documentary. I think he was on HBO, and they were talking about, I think it was Real Sex or something like that, or some kind of show. He was on there, and I was like, oh, snap, this dude Dennis Hoff. He was, I think it was like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever I saw it. And hey, man, he had ladies in there, different persuasions, and, it's totally legal in Nevada. So my thing is, should prostitution turn legal? They do say it is the oldest profession on these grounds in this country, and matter of fact, not even in this country, just in general, in the entire expanse of human history, there have always been, unfortunately, women and men. Let's not get it twisted, but we can say women now because this is a male-dominated society, and they'll throw up women as being prostitutes through the ages quicker than they do men. But they were men that were prostitutes too. Should prostitution be legal? Because you're two consenting adults. You decided to get into this for whatever reason. And let's be real. It's always an economic situation. We live, again, in a society where there are those that make their way, but there are others that fall off the track and they get into, a bad luck, a series of bad chain of events, and they end up having to make a decision to sell their body, as we know. All right. So should prostitution be legal? It's a very controversial thing. I say yes. Why not? Because how can you stop two people from one person from offering sex and another person from receiving it? And now I know of the moral implication of that. I get it. Of course, morally, it shouldn't be done. All right. But when you have someone that has little options from whatever economic background they come from, I cannot hate on the next person for doing what they have to do, because I'm not there right next to them saying, okay, you should go here, you should go there. Now, I'm not saying this prostitution, but it also goes into stripping. Now, Cardi B, everybody knows Cardi B was a stripper before. Did anybody help her out of a situation? It is what it is. Born out of the Bronx in a poor community, she did what she had to do. She was blessed with a nice body, so she made that decision. I cannot knock them. Now, as far as selling sex, we want to take it there. I'm not in these people's lives, and I can't make that decision for them. And they have to do what's best for them in the moment. My thing is, they would just have to protect themselves from sexually transmitted diseases, and not just protect themselves from STDs, but also, the riffraffs of society, the rapists and the druggists and all the pimps and all that. And again, that comes with a part of the game, but I can't tell people how to live their lives in the moment. This guy made a business out of it, and he had 6 brothels where cats is coming through. They go to Vegas. The saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Hey, people run to those brothels. They do their thing. Boom, 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 boom. Whatever else they got involved with that, and they head back home. So I try to have an open mind and try to understand people's situations, and it ain't going nowhere, because as I said before, it's been going on for a long time, probably in the ancient days of Rome and Egypt. So what you think about that?
Yeah, but Yeah, I just don't. I agree that it's not going to go away. You know, people are going to do whatever it is they want to do, whether it's legal or not. But making it legal and making it something that's regulated, making it something that, you know, our tomorrows can aspire to. You're saying that this is a career. This is a career choice for you. This is something that you can legally do.
I hear you.
I don't know that I'm comfortable with that. You know, you say, you know, you don't want to tell people what, but at the same time, you don't want to glorify it. You don't want to say that. You don't want to give it that stamp of approval for our young ones to look up to that and say that that is a possibility, that is something that I could do, and that I could just use my body and have sex with whoever, whenever, to make money. You know, you should value your body more. Your body is your temple. You know, it's special. It's something that you should, you know, have the highest level of respect for. I don't think that it's something that a lot of these women, although they do it consensually, within they're having so many struggles. I think that's why so many of them are on drugs. They need to take drugs just to get through it, because it's not something that they want to do. They don't want these strange, sweaty, nasty men who don't care anything about them laying on top of them. You know, if you watch documentaries with these women talking about it and the way that they're treated, and the number of men that just run through them, and the way that it affected their psyche, you know, it's just not something that I'm comfortable with, you know, making legal. If that's something that, you know, you do over somewhere hiding or whatever, and make you a quick buck here and there, and I don't see it and don't know anything about it, what can I say and what can I do? A lot of people do a lot of things they should not do that's not legal to make a quick buck, right? But that doesn't mean that we should make it legal because people won't stop doing it.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Yeah, I understand where you come from.
It's a hard one, and then you have to think about the business of it. Okay, you make it legal, and so people are going to make a business out of it. These people are they going to be insurable? Is there an insurance company who is going to want to insure someone that they know is having sex with all these strangers multiple times a day? And you know what I'm saying? Right. And you know, it causing question of their health, and then, you know, then mentality too, because again, women think about sex totally different than men do. For a man, they're like, it's just sex. They can lay down with anybody. They don't care. You know, that's what it seems like to me.
Emotional attachment. It is what it is.
You know, you're a man, so you can speak to that more than I can. But from what I have seen, and I grew up with a lot of brothers and cousins, and a lot of, you know, I was somewhat of a tomboy, so I had a lot of male friends. Right. And the discussions that we had, I'm like, dude, how you just sleeping with her? You just slept with her not even a week ago, and then you... Okay, and you slept with her sister and her cousin, and it's like, what? It's just sex. But for women, it's not just sex. You know, there's a very emotional connection that most women, I will say most women, because some women, now even the ones who try to say it's just sex, there's still something emotional that's clicking with them, because they have these expectations of these people that they're having sex with, that these men don't feel they have a right to have these expectations, you know? Right. So, yeah, there's so much more to it than just having sex and making money. I just, my heart goes out to women who find themselves in that position where they feel like there is no other way. And I just, no.
I can't tell a dude, you can't sell drugs, that's wrong. You know, I can't say that, of course. I can tell a guy, you know, you can't sell drugs. Right, that's caught up, and I can give him a laundry list of things of why it's wrong. But you know, one of the things I always thought about that conversation in my head, the response would be, the rebuttal to me would be, "Well, you ain't paying my bills, bruh. You know, you don't have my life. You know, you got to pay this rent. You got to take care of these kids. You know, how am I gonna feed myself?" So when I hear that going through my head, the conditions exist where it forces people to make the decision to go into things that they know are not right for them personally. But the other side, the conflict is, well, you know what? Forget the moral part of it. I gotta live. I gotta eat. And in this society where I gotta pay money for rents and light and all these things, I gotta do what I gotta do. So yeah, I'm gonna tell a man not to sell drugs, and I tell a woman don't sell your body. But then I don't live their life because there are sections of society.
You don't live their life. But if you did not work a 9 to 5, you would be in the same position that they're in, right? You chose differently. You chose a route to where you worked a legitimate job to bring in an income to take care of your family.
Don't you think that?
They can do the same thing.
Sometimes people's life are not dealt with the same cards. I lived in a middle class society.
Yeah, people's lives aren't dealt with the same cards. However, just like I can get a job, you can get a job. Maybe it's not the job that you want to work. Maybe it doesn't pay the amount of money right then that you feel like you need to be making. But it happens. You know what I mean? Like, I've worked plenty of jobs that did not make the amount of money that I felt I was worth. But that was more worth it to me than going out and having sex with somebody to make a quick
But you know what?
buck.
It ain't enough. It ain't enough. In their eyes, I got to pay rent. And you know, McDonald's is not cutting it in this small town Midwest.
And that's selfish because I often think that it's so selfish because you're not thinking about what's going on the end of that, with you selling these drugs. You're not thinking about the people who potentially will have an overdose. You're not thinking about the people who are in their family, how that's impacting their family, how their kids are watching them stumbling around and falling asleep and burning their foods and you know what I mean, and driving drunk or driving under the influence, and they're killing other people on the road. Like, it's so much more bigger than you and your current circumstance. What you are doing is illegal for a reason.
But you know what?
I can't be concerned with that.
I can't be concerned with that. You know why? Because I got to feed myself.
That's selfish.
It's not selfish. It's
That's
about
selfish.
survival.
No, that's
so if I got to pay
selfish.
rent, what am I going to do?
Because there's other means for feeding yourself.
I can't get that job.
Get out there and cut some grass.
I can't get the job. I can't cut the grass.
Get out there and cut some grass.
I can't do that.
Why can't you cut the grass?
Because it don't exist. What if the opportunity is not there? I can't cut the grass.
That's
and you
a
know
lie.
what? I'm gonna work at McDonald's.
That's a lie.
I'm gonna work at McDonald's, and my man on the corner is making $1,000 in 2 days, and McDonald's is only gonna give me $250 for the week. I can't use it. I can't use that to pay my bills.
So what? He making $1,000, and it's another drug dealer that's making $1 million. So you're gonna say, okay, well, I need to sell what he's selling.
So I'm gonna
he's making $1 million, and I'm only making $1,000.
So how am I gonna make up the difference? How am I gonna make up the difference?
Get your tail out there and quit being lazy, and find a way to do it. That is not the only means.
So I should do 4 jobs.
Make an income.
I gotta do 4 or 5 jobs.
You do what you gotta do. You don't. That is so selfish.
Yo, Jay,
I gotta pay this bill.
$2,000.
And what bills do you have? You're not legal anywhere. So you don't have no house in your name. You don't have no car in your name. You can't have these things in your name because you're hiding it, because you can't file taxes. You can't file taxes on illegal money.
So what I'm gonna do? I gotta live, right?
Find another way. You find another way.
You gonna help me with the way?
Barbers
You
out
gonna
there.
give me some money?
What? Boy, go somewhere. Get out of here. Does somebody give me money? Get out of here.
But we got whole cities. We got whole cities where people will say,
I don't care. There's other options. You do
New
what
Orleans
you have to do.
There's some hurting parts of New Orleans.
You do what you have to do. I watched a show.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of the name of the show. Oh yes, I can. It was Undercover Boss Celebrity Edition, and there was a guy, homeless, working his way through school and still giving back to the community. And this was the episode where Deion Sanders was there. This guy was walking around in these holy flip-flops. His feet looked nasty, like he hadn't been able to take a shower. His clothes looked like he hadn't had changed those clothes, and I don't know. But he kept pushing. He was determined to get his degree. He was determined to be on the right path, and the way God connected him to be able to be on Celebrity, Undercover Boss, and meet Deion Sanders, who hooked this man up because of his drive, because he refused to go down that wrong path. And he's walking around with these holy flip-flops on. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't even afford to get him a decent pair of shoes. This man working his way through school. You can do it. You don't have to make that quick. But how have you accumulated all of these bills if you ain't got no money?
Well, I got to get in my own house, right? What
Well,
about
how
my
you get a
moms can't
house
job?
if you ain't got no
My
money?
moms can't get a job.
How did
My
you get a
moms can't
house?
job.
How did you get a house?
It's from my mom's.
It's
She
from
got
your
the
mom's.
house. Yeah, she got a house. I live with her. You know, ain't no jobs around. It's
Man,
crazy.
whatever.
What else
There's-
I got?
whatever.
But
There's
to sell,
always
you know,
another
sell some
way.
crack rocks.
There's always
some
another
heroin.
way. There's always
another
way.
way?
There's always another way.
Sometimes life ain't that clear cut. Sometimes it ain't that black and white. Sometimes
So it's
there's
not as
certain
black
parts.
as white. It's not as black and white and saying this is my only option. Come on, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like,
Yeah,
how,
but
your
you
only
can't-
option is to sell some drugs?
No,
There's
I'm
nothing.
saying, but there, some people don't. There
No,
is nothing
it
else.
may
Like,
not
when
be
you see,
anything
like,
else that you want to do, but there is something else that you can do.
And what if it don't cut it? Get another job. And then get
That's
another
what everybody
job.
else
And what if
does.
The jobs is limited.
How are you better?
And what if the jobs is
Your-
limited? So how
your
would if the
poop don't
jobs is limited?
stink? Like everybody else, do the same stuff.
Well, what if? Okay, but what if the jobs is limited? There ain't enough
cares?
jobs. Like we were speaking
Who cares?
before off air. We was talking about how they was thinking about shutting down GM in Warren, Ohio. If they shut down GM in Warren, Ohio, what the people's gonna do? We got
Find
people in West
another
Virginia that the
job.
coal industry is going. Sometimes it ain't that clear cut.
Dude.
Not like I could just walk into a job.
Yeah.
Mr.
Boy, whatever.
Gregory, can I get a
You
job?
have
I
made
just
that
walked
up
my
for real.
yesterday.
You have made that up.
I bet-
People are not that stupid. People are not that uneducated. People are not that, you know what I mean? They are not that limited where their only option is to sell some drugs. Come on.
I say it like this. Sometimes I never try to think that everybody has a situation like me. There's some areas where it's people are left.
And I know people.
nothing.
I know people, but they did not turn to. They did not turn to selling
But you-
drugs. Listen, I was in a
But you can't
situation.
expect
I was in a
everybody-
situation. I got injured on my job. I was on my job doing what I was supposed to do on my job. I was in a car accident. They did not want to pay me my workers' comp. I had to live without an income for several months. Do you hear me? I did not get out there and sell drugs. I did not get out there and sell my body. I lived off of money that I had saved. I reduced my spending. I did what I had to do. I continued going to school. Matter of fact, I think I had got student loans for that semester or whatever. I got student loans and I lived off of that student loans until they finally decided to go ahead and pay me my money. You do what you have to do. I didn't ask people for anything. I was in a situation. I didn't know if I was going to be able to pay my bills or whatever, you know? And I was limited in what I could eat or whatever. That's why I'm saying there's other options. Like, you don't have to get out there and do that stuff. You don't. I didn't beg my friends, you know, man, I don't have no food for lunch today or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do none of that stuff. You know, people just kind of knew my situation. They knew I still wasn't back at work. They knew that they were giving me a runaround with workers' comp. And so, like, I had a friend that'll come over and be like, hey, I know they're not paying you, whatever. Here, I brought you some, you know, detergent so you'll be able to wash your clothes. I didn't tell her that, you know, man, I don't know if I can buy some detergent. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, little things like that. But I didn't, you know, I did what I had to do. I spread my money out and did what I had to do to maintain until they paid me my money. You know, you have options. I lived on my own. I did not have a boyfriend, a husband, no kids, because, you know, women with kids then, they were able to get welfare checks and stuff. I didn't have no kids. I just support myself. You know what I mean?
And people with 2 or 3 kids?
They could get welfare. I couldn't get welfare. Welfare don't give you money when you're single.
So
you
poor
don't have no
people.
kids.
So poor people on welfare. It's a choice for them to sell drugs and to sell their bodies, and they can simply not do it and hunker down and try to make it work.
I know people
with
who
what they
did
have.
it. I know people who lived on welfare and they lived well. You know, there are many options out there, and then welfare helped them to get through college, and now they're doing good. You know what I'm saying? They're doctors and nurses and stuff like that. They live in wonderful homes. You know, they made a different choice. You can't just be lazy and not want to work for it and say, oh, I'm going to go out here and sell some drugs. Or And I'm not being
romanticize.
judgmental. I'm just saying, don't
Right.
come to me talking about that's your only option. You may see that as your way out at that moment. You feel desperate at that moment. So this is what I need to
Right.
do for this moment. Okay, if you feel that's what you need to do for that moment, but find a different solution. Don't make that your lifestyle.
I get you. And on that note, LK dropped it.
I'm sorry, but I'm so passionate about people
letting
making
y'all
it to
know.
the next level. Like, your opportunities are limitless. You can do whatever. Like, you don't have to. You can't limit yourself. Don't put yourself in a box. There is so much out there for you to get. You just have to go after it.
And on that note, we are going into the next song. Yeah, I hear you. All right, so what's the next song? Oh yeah, on that note, I what I was saying before is I'm just saying it. What the opposing argument would be if someone were to tell me if I had nothing, like what you expect me to do. That's how I was setting it up. Of what a person would say if she was talking to someone like that, because it is hard sometimes, and sometimes the answers are not right in your face, and sometimes she said sometimes people are right there. Yeah, I hear you, but what Latasha's saying, there are options. And on that note, we're gonna introduce the next song. What we got here? Okay,
Khxng Khami from Newark, New Jersey. Check.
boom, let's go.
Everything a nigga do make an impact. Flames stuck inside my body like a syntax. Only focus on the riches and I'm in that. Whipping water flowing sorta like a tit tat. Should I go and catch a feeling, bring a pin back? Or just reinvent the craft like a witch pack? Blowing dope, got a habit, always big crack. Product got me ready just to go and flip tracks. But I only flip tracks where a nigga been back. Eyes on the prize while I ride like I'm Pac. 9 times out of 5, got moms and my pops on the side while I shine. Just to shine without shine, give a line to the top. Non-stop, all the lies with the link up. You ain't never get worried by the kilo. You ain't never get harassed by your PO. Putting on the act offset like the Migo. We know. Roll like I'm supposed to. Cutting all ties with the knives on my mind. Getting dough like Sudoku. Roll like I'm supposed to. Cutting all ties with the knives on my mind. Getting dough like Sudoku. Roll like I'm supposed to. Cutting all ties with the knives on my mind. Getting dough like Sudoku. Roll like I'm supposed to. Cutting all ties with the knives on my mind. Getting dough like Sudoku. Nigga, show respect if your mind's on a check. Nigga, show respect if your mind's on a check. This is serious, people.
Hear it right here.
Now this the type of song you put on replay.
Nothing but the exclusive.
That's not exclusive right here.
On GCOM Radio.
Where I slept, nights with no lights, family ties, kept us blessed. We know father on the block, kept my moms always stressed. But all I did was teach me if you want it, go and get it. Said I'm harder than a lot of y'all, gotta be a thug, never not at all. But was always taught to set it off like a Malo talk. I'm a different breed, we are not at all the same. Was taught to hold the pain and blow it all away. Get a man up, get your bands up, Green Lantern. Never fool to put your hands up, better stand up. Knew it was a Santa, had to understand, seen them grams in the hand. And the man with a plan, goddamn, niggas never got jam pocket, watching, niggas never got hit. Locksmith, niggas never got picked on the road to the goal. Call me King Mike Tits, I'm a savage, never lacking with the magic. Never been a snake, put that hate in the casket. Money on the plate with a steak, had to grab it. Never average, practice, had to smash it. Black acid, tablet, I'm a bad trip, got a bad chick, mad dick on my cactus, not a Catholic. Got him diving in the wave, I'm setting, trying to swag it. Baptized like a Baptist. I'm on the wise, getting Frito-Lay, and I'ma count a nigga either way because I want to. Not waste the time on what people say, cause I'ma count a nigga either way because I want to. Roll like I'm supposed to, cutting all ties with the knives on my mind, getting dough like Sudoku. Roll like I'm supposed to, cutting all ties with the knives on my mind, getting dough like Sudoku. Roll like I'm supposed to, cutting all ties with the knives on my mind, getting dough like Sudoku. Roll like I'm supposed to, cutting all ties with the knives on my mind, getting dough like Sudoku. Nigga, show respect if your mind's on a check. Nigga, show respect if your mind's on a check. We know, nigga, show respect if your mind's on a check. Hold up, nigga, show respect if your mind's on a check. We know, nigga, show respect if your mind's on a check. Nigga, show respect if your mind's on a check. We know, nigga, show respect if your mind's on a check. Hold up, nigga, show respect if your mind's on a check. We know.
All right, folks, we are back. Had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we worked it on out. We back for the final segment. Ooh, all right, what are we talking about now? And look to show love to Khxng Khami, man, on that joint. Check, man, loving it. So yeah, I gotta call you, man. I'm gonna call you, bro. I'm gonna call you.
Yeah, so we love Khxng Khami.
Khxng Khami, man, that's what's up. He bounced down to Atlanta. Never knew. From New Jersey, I guess, you know, Atlanta's where it's at, man. It's the hub. Yes, that's where hip hop is flowing around right now. So, all right. So, third segment, we're gonna get into. We're gonna just talk about why rent is so damn high, and I don't know if it's affected in Ohio. How's it in Ohio as far as rent is concerned?
Man, I haven't had to deal with it. I don't know.
No, well, I mean, do you look at the market? You know what things are going for. Talking with your friends.
I ain't got time for that. Nah, most of my friends.
I just caught that. I was like, "She ain't got no time for that."
I'm busy. I was just talking about that with a friend of mine. When you're in this industry and you're an entrepreneur, like you're lucky to make time to get a shower in. You know what I'm saying? Like you're from phone call to phone call, text to text. Yeah, so I don't have time for that small talk. But most of my friends aren't even located in my hometown. Because I do a lot of business nationally. So most of my communications aren't even with people in my hometown. But the people in my hometown that I do communicate with, they purchase homes. I don't know about rent. So I can't help you with the market in Ohio. I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's okay. But because I kind of saw it because I was seeing a couple of articles where they're talking about the rain's getting too damn high. It's getting crazy. It's just not New York. It's happening out here in LA, San Francisco, all the major urban centers. I don't know if it's happening in ATL.
I will say this though. So this may, lend into that and may be a reason why. There are a lot of families that are staying together. So you have a daughter with her full family, husband and kids, living with her mom and dad, or either her mom and dad are living with her, or you have sisters and their full family living with each other, and they're helping raise each other kids. So that could be due to the cost of living. I don't know, but I am seeing a lot of that lately.
Yes, and that is a smart way to go, especially now with the rental market and the housing market. But yeah, one of the articles I saw in New York Times, it was dated on March 31st, 2017 by Stephen Carruthers, and he was talking about how there was a famous area in Lower Manhattan in the Ville, we call it the Village that was for short, where it's just giving you a little example how the rental market, even in the commercial spaces, are getting crazy. And it started out, just quickly, just give me about 2-3 minutes, and I'll give it to you a nice small way, short and quick way of what was happening on Bleecker Street. Everybody from New York who knows New York, Bleecker Street is a famous street on Lower Manhattan where you could go for a lot of shopping and such and so forth. And it started out, this is how the market started. So in Bleecker Street, it started out a lot of small stores, all right? And what was happening, one of the small store that kind of opened up was in Magnolia. It started in 1996. And then the HBO show Sex and the City came, and of course they had all the ladies from Sex and the City eating there in Magnolia Bakery. Well, after that, it started to blow up because of Sex and the City. And even to the point, Marc Jacobs wanted to open up his own store over there. Of course, everybody knows Marc Jacobs. And following Marc Jacobs, a lot of other kind of trendy, high-end stores started to pop up, like Lulu Guinness, Tommy Hilfiger, Ralph Lauren, what others? So Olive and Betts, Jimmy Choo, Burberry, Ganton Nars, Brunello Cucinelli, I think it is. So they started to open up their stores, and it was crazy. You know, everybody started, the Sex and City tour buses were coming and dropping off the fans off, taking pictures, you know, doing their little shopping. You even had, you know, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, Sophia Coppola, and also Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City was visiting Sarah Jessica Parker down there because, you know, it was hype. So everybody was cool. Oh my God, all these stars are coming, all these nice little stores is happening. And they started to spill over into the meatpacking district on the far west village in the city. And it was more like eateries and such and so forth in the meatpacking district, but mostly, you know, fashion. We're on that street on Bleecker Street. Between Christopher and I forgot what was the other street. It was Bleecker Street between Christopher and I can't remember what the end street is, but it's like 3 or 4 blocks or 4 or 5 blocks. So what happened was all these stores was popping, and you know it's beautiful. So the trend was going up there to raise the rent. So what happened was that's exactly what happened because the fever was there with all these people. The owners of the building started to raise rent on the smaller low-end stores, and people just had to shut their doors. People were shutting their doors, and one store owner was talking to the building owner, or whoever he was renting from. It went from $7,000 to what was it? It was to $45,000 rent in Lower Manhattan. It was crazy. So of course people are not going to pay it, so they started closing their stores, and then slowly but surely it started to get real expensive. And even the Sex and the City tour folks were like, okay, it's cool that Sex and the City was here, but we're not paying $2,000 for no bag. So these stores started turning into vanity stores where, you know, some of the business owners on the block were passing by one clothing store. I forget what it was. They were selling, it was just empty. They were not selling anything, and they were wondering, okay, how are you staying open if you're not selling anything? And that's why they call it quote unquote vanity stores, just for the look of the brand. And then eventually they started closing down because they just couldn't afford it. Even Marc Jacobs, that first started, opened his store when the trend started picking up in Bleecker Street. He closed his store. So in terms of, now the rent was getting too high even for the high fashion brands. And now you just have, they say, a number of stores on Bleecker Street just have the construction paper just in the windows showing that, you know, it's closed down and they're looking to open it back up. And here it is how, you know, the trend kind of fell in on itself, or the market fell in on itself, because it was trendy at first, and then people were raising the rent because it was trendy, and now the market is not there anymore, and these stores are just empty. And that's just an example of what's happening in the commercial spaces. But now there was another article came out in Yahoo October. It would drop today, as a matter of fact, by Hillary Hoffauer. They have, the Bay Area is so expensive, even the top tech companies from Apple, Uber, and Google, the people that work there can't even afford it, even on 6-figure salaries. They literally have to move out of the areas in San Francisco because it is too freaking expensive. And that's how examples from New York to LA, and I don't get it. I don't, how do you keep raising the rent to the point where people cannot even do you
think that maybe
take care of themselves?
They're trying to box people out? Because I know a lot of people are wanting to rent their homes for different celebrities to come into town, and maybe they're setting that rent that high so that the property is available for those people to come to town, because a celebrity will rent their house for a few days for the amount of money that somebody who's not a celebrity would take to rent it for 3 months. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that might be some of the mentality? I don't know.
I think it's there was another article by The Guardian. It's funny that you bring that up, that it was dated in December 24th, 2017 by Edward Helmore. And he said it's not so much why the rent is skyrocketing. It used to be mom and pop operations, and now they're saying it's more institutional investors and hedge funds that are unwilling to drop the rent to match the retail conditions of the time. So now you have a lot of people can't afford it, but then you have these huge investment companies that are saying, like, coming in and say, you know what, bring in Target, or bring in a high-end brand that can pay $30,000, and they're not dropping it. They're not willing to go back to when the rent, or just kind of decrease it or deflate to something that's more reasonable for other people to get in. They're saying, whatever, you know, Marc Jacobs was there before, but, you know, I'm going to get my $30,000. So, and that's what's happening. That's what's happening. And they're not backing down. They said there was a recent survey by the New York council member, by a New York council member, Helen Rosenthal. They said 12% of the stores on one stretch of the Upper West Side is unoccupied and for lease. And it has become a repeated pattern nationally. They're saying in October, the U.S. surpassed a previous record for store closings set after the 2008 financial crisis. So, I mean, I think what's happening is we're on an unsustainable road in the market, and especially when it comes to retail and commercial space and rental space. We have people that are owning these properties that want to get the maximum amount of profit. That's why when rent for an apartment was going for $1,200 here, anyway, in New York, is now going for $3,000. It's, I mean, who can pay this stuff? And I understand they're trying to make money, but at the same time, you are locking out a huge segment of New York that was always here. And it's the same thing in San Francisco. So as far as going back to say celebrities renting out, it could be one part, but I don't think it's the what's driving this trend in its totality. A lot of it is just greed, man. And you know, there was another article that came out. We have a whole blue collar segment of society in California. It could have been the Bay Area, I think, where there are people living in tents. They're like doctors and nurses and firefighters, blue collar jobs, and they just can't afford the rent in that particular area. So they've been forced to live in these tents and they can't go anywhere. So I think I don't know what's happening in Ohio, but it's a serious problem in these major urban centers, and it seems like there's no stop. I'm like, at what point do we say, or the people, the captains of the industry, the people that are running this industry are saying, wait a second, we can't keep on going down this road, because eventually the people that can afford $5,000 a month, that's a small number of people. You know, that's not what makes up the whole of LA or the whole of New York or Miami or Atlanta. I don't even know what's happening. It's great to get some feedback from folks in Atlanta. But, you know, how do we continue this if we're going to keep on raising rent so we can make money on the end? But this doesn't do well for society as a whole. So it's a big problem. It's a big problem. And people are talking about it everywhere, and we're talking to each other, and we're making headway with each other and understanding that it's unsustainable. But the people that are owning these buildings are like, So I'm wondering what's happening in Ohio, in middle America. Like, what's happening in these areas? I mean, is this also kind of catching wind in your parts, other than the West Coast and the East Coast? I mean,
right. That's what I'm wondering. I don't know. Like, I have not heard anyone complaining about not being able to find a reasonable place, you know, to live. I haven't heard anyone talking about that, so I don't know if that has anything to do. Again, we're in Northeast Ohio. Ohio is a big state, so you know, I don't know what's going on down south, but you know, in my region, it's a fairly low cost of living, and I just have not heard anything. But again, we do have those families that are living together, you know, what do you call it? The double family households, whatever. There are a lot of those, but that's everywhere, and that could be because
right.
of the cost of living. Just because the cost of living is low here, that doesn't mean that the incomes are, are accommodating it. So yeah, right.
It's not matching. I think it's funny. I was talking to one person. I'm saying the companies, and I try to be objective. And what's happening is companies are saying, well, if they're raising the price of gas, we're going to pass it on to the consumer. They're not going to take that hit. Or if they're saying there's a tariff or the expense or cost of their product or service is going up for whatever that's happening, they're not going to take that hit. They pass it off to the consumer. And then on the other side, the other companies are saying, well, you know what? Numbers are not looking good this quarter, this year. We're not going to take that hit. We're going to have to cut off workers, or we're going to have to not give raises. So what happens? They pass it off to the employee. So now all of a sudden you have the living wage not going up because companies are not trying to take that hit. And then the other companies are saying, well, we ain't going to take that hit because the cost is going up on us. And if you pass that off to the consumer and the employee are the same people. So, I think we're between a rock and a hard place. Like, hey, look, slow down, y'all. I understand that for whatever reason you feel that you're going to not making those profits and making your shareholders happy, but you're putting us in a pinch.
You know what? Now that I think about it, and I think I said that earlier, that the people that I know, or the friends that I know, aren't really renting, they're buying houses. And now that I think about that was, and this was several years ago that this started, that people said it did not make sense to rent. It was more cost effective to purchase a home than it was to rent. So hey, maybe that's your answer for the Midwest, for Ohio. Renting, maybe it is too expensive. Like I said, I haven't been in that position. I haven't had to be out there in that market. But that seems to be where people are, leaning towards. They are purchasing homes. They are not willing to be renting from anyone.
Right. And it's flipped here in New York. People don't want, the trend is moving more towards rentals instead of buying a home. Because here, let me tell you something. When we were talking off air with this, you saying that to get a nice 3 or 4 bedroom home is about what, $20,000 in some areas, possibly $100,000. You take that same home in New York, you're paying $1 million, a 1.5 for the same home, because there's so many people that lives here, and the industry is here, and you packing people in a small place. You drive up the market, or the more like the demand. You drive up the demand, so you have to meet it with the supply. But at the same time, the demand is there, so you raise the price. So now, for New York, it's like, forget that. And then especially with the 2008 financial crash, housing market crash, people are saying, screw that. And then with the Hurricane Sandy that hit us hard, a lot of the insurance companies weren't paying out these homeowners, and they had to wait a year, or they had to give up their homes. There are a lot of different things that, homeowners were finding out that the insurance companies weren't, they were not meeting their obligations as the insurance companies to cover for damages. So now you have people saying, forget that, I'm not moving into a home. So what's happening is people are moving more into rentals. And then, okay, great. Now it's driving up the rental market. Now you have these high-rise luxury buildings and these 6-story luxury rentals, quote unquote, they call them, but they're renting these places out for like $3,000 a month. I'm like, who's paying for it? And here's a flip. This is the problem with gentrification. So the people that live there for 20, 30 years that have been disenfranchised can't afford the prices of these new luxury rentals. So they can't afford that. So now these neighborhoods are getting gentrified. They eventually have to move out the neighborhood. But what is also a problem is the people that are the gentrifiers that are moving into these communities are also victims of the market, because now what's happening is these young kids that are going to colleges here and universities here in New York, they're living like 5 to 6, 7 in 1-bedroom apartments, 2-bedroom apartments, because of course they can't afford it as a single person or just 2 people. So now they're packing in like sardines into these renovated apartments that these building owners are saying, oh, these are luxury rentals now, you can move in, and it's not helping them. So now they can't afford a car, they can't afford to have kids, they're taking a train, and they're like, man, I can't afford a car in New York, so I'm just hopping on the train. And even in that Yahoo article, they're saying about 60% of tech workers can't afford a home in San Francisco, and they're also saying that it's crazy. They're saying that also a high percentage of these employees, it was a factor of the living standard in San Francisco that was a reason for them not to have any kids. They're all interconnected. So what are we saying here? We're talking about when it comes to, this rent is too damn high or this mortgage is too damn high. We're going across the board here that the society is heading towards an unsustainable space. And how do we as citizens kind of deal with that? And Midwest, Ohio, a lot of these San Francisco VCs, venture capitalists, are moving into the Midwest and getting tour buses and going around the Midwest. Because why? Because the space that they're renting out or for their tech companies is too high. So they're saying, we're going to move to the Midwest because that's where the trends is going anyway, and it's cooler out there. No, it's too expensive. All right, it's way too expensive. That's why you're moving to Ohio. That's why you're moving to Nebraska. You're moving to Idaho, a lot of these Midwestern states, because of course it's cheap. But what happens when you create another hub in Nebraska? The trend is going to follow, and it's going to get expensive there. So it's kind of like a cat and mouse game, and it's getting ridiculous. And nobody's saying, whoa, slow down. Let's be reasonable. Let's have common sense here. We can't keep on moving in this way, because it eventually is going to affect everyone to the point where they can't afford any place to live. And then what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Bottom line, that's what I'm saying. Rent is too damn high, and it's an issue here. And you think Ohio ain't gonna be the case? I'm telling y'all out there in the United States and everywhere around the world, whoever's listening, you think being in Ohio, being in Youngstown, being in Cleveland, or being in Warren, Ohio, y'all's gonna escape it? They're gonna run into you in your neighborhood, and they're gonna say, "Hey, this is the new cool area, yeah." So where GM might get shut down, they can say, "Yeah, we're gonna build an Amazon over here."
They're already down to 1 shift, I think, at GM. They used to have 3 shifts, and now they're down to 1.
Say word.
I don't know now.
1 shift?
I don't know. I can't remember. Over 1,500 not too long ago got laid off because they let go of another shift. Yeah.
And that trend is going, I swear, Allah, it's going to turn around.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, oh, Warren's a new cool place. Yeah. Let's go and check out that area. And then, GM may start shuttering, or decreasing their employees. But then you're going to have another tech company that's going to come in, and it's going to be the new cool place to be. And
we did first, the township where they were building the TJ Maxx. I can't remember if it's a call center or where. I can't remember what they're building, but they want to build it in Lordstown, and that's where GM is located, in Lordstown. And right before GM laid off those employees, there were community members that were fighting against TJ Maxx coming in the area. They were like, we don't want them here. We don't want all that traffic. We don't want, that noise in our neighborhood. And TJ Maxx pulled out. They were like, okay, we don't want to be in an area where where we're not wanted or whatever. We'll go somewhere else. And then right after they pulled out, that's when the news broke that those people were getting laid off at GM. And so our congressman Tim Ryan went to bat and he really, negotiated or got in there and pleaded with TJ Maxx and told them, no, we do want you. We need you here. What was he going to do? All these people are in that area are losing their jobs because a couple of people were talking about they don't want to hear some noise. You know what I mean?
And what's going to happen now? What's on the next go around?
So yeah, TJ Maxx is going to build that there. I can't remember if it's a call center or if it's a distribution center. They're building something pretty major though, and it's going to bring a lot of jobs to the area.
Watch. Warren's going to turn into the cool place. Youngstown going to turn into the cool place. There's going to be tech companies going to pop up. New luxury rentals going to come in. Homes that you can mortgage, whether they're condominiums or just single family homes. And then the people that's been there for 20 or 30 years.
I can't remember the name of the company. He owns this company that basically stores cars for people. He built some type of tech type of way to store cars for people, and he wanted to build one in Warren, and he's just been trying to find an area to build it at. And I guess there's been a lot of red tape, that he's been going to, because this is his hometown. Right. He's like, this is where I want to bring it. I want to bring this money to this area. I want to bring, something back to my hometown. But he was going through all these obstacles, and I can't even remember what the outcome ended up being with that. I want to say they did end up securing an area that he is supposed to begin building and storing. But whatever, this company, I wish I knew the name of it, that I knew that I was gonna talk about this. But yeah, this is a major company. It's going to bring a lot.
He's a canary in a cave, and when that canary comes singing out, he's going to get attract attention from other companies. And we're like, yeah, let's come on in. And yeah. And then the people that have been living in was like, hey, this is great. Yeah. And next thing you know, when they start building up, they're like, wait a second, this is too expensive for us. That's what I'm afraid of. So my thing is, you got to be ahead of the curve. If you don't know there's going to be companies going to come in and want to take advantage of the low cost of building and renting and all these things, that's so they can make sure they have a wide or a long profit margin. We're going to have to be ahead of the curve as far as the people and say, oh, listen, we need job training. We need to get in tech. We need to get in coding. You can hire the people that have been here for years and prepare. So when you have an Amazon come in or when you have a Google come in, look, we already have a section of people that is ready for these jobs. Right. So, or you're going to have to build something that's, I know it's kind of hard to say as a rival because it's like a, what do you call it? Goliath? What do you call him? What's that story? Religious
David
story?
and Goliath?
It's like a David and Goliath situation where it's like, damn, who's going to battle Google? But, how do we make sure that these people are ready for this upswing, this economic upswing and new business that's coming into Warren? You got to prepare them. So that's the only way I see it, because New York is a wrap. LA is a wrap. San Fran is a wrap. ATL, I think they're planning to build an Amazon center. It was either going to be in New York or ATL, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, anyone out there, but I think they were gonna pick ATL. So the people got to prepare, man, because they ain't waiting for nobody. But that's what it is. Running too damn high. All right, we out of here, y'all. Man. We spoke enough, and we appreciate you guys listening to us talk about these things. Please, if you're an artist, you can submit your music to submissions at Lyfeblood.com, or please email Latasha K. Mason. Please, your email. What's your email that people can send you stuff?
LKMason74@AOL.com.
Boom, boom, boom. Please sign up for Zaina the Brave. She's on Facebook, on IG.
On Twitter, right? Yes, all at Zaina the Brave, and you can also visit the website www.zainathebrave.com.
Okay, I'm there at Lyfeblood. You know where I'm at, people. Music Life is there. We're talking with some artists, and we have some interviews coming. Please stay tuned. We're working on them. They're going to be great. We're not going to mention them as yet, but they're coming in. And the last song of the show is King Spills from Brooklyn, New York, coming with that song Rich. Thank y'all for listening. We do appreciate it. Right after this one, see you on the next go round. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spilly. Hey. I'm so melodic, sort of exotic, a product of my environment. Fireman wasn't lying, I'm hot. Blue flame in a block, I get a lot of love. So when I'm writing these rhymes, I rock an oven glove. My punchlines like a cannon, bricks up a cut. Cowards stay ready to shoot. I rather knuckle up and get the scrap, and applauding's the only clapping you do. I smack you and your crew in front of everybody and put the Rex in effect. Young Teddy Riley, or get a whiff of my wrecking ball if you ready, Molly. Highly considered that devilish kind of raw talent, and give a sinister grin when I'm caught smiling. We in the court wilding out to be free. Solitary in the summer like 1,000 degrees. Allow me to breathe like respirators. I respect the haters, the naysayers, and the speculators. The bench players can't define my raps. Like a train, I'm on track. You spending all your time on Snap. Facts, a lot of fronting going around out here. Listen, you get the picture, but the sound ain't clear. I just wanna be rich, I don't wanna be broke. Let me get my mind right.
I love them.
WPRD 98.3 Khxng Radio.
I could have been a victim of a drive-by. Stray bullets while I'm sitting on the sideline. Seeing brothers drop one by one, and the good die young. So I'm trying to make it out of the slums. I just wanna be rich. Thoughts of a sinner, mentality of a winner. You niggas is fool. Just another part of my dinner. You die by the gun. I'm the one that's pulling the trigger. My flow remind you of Jigger, and it's prime, no lie. All these platinum Rolexes watching time go by. Same time, know we all gon' die. That's a definite fact. Think big, I kick in the door swiftly. Pause, I was getting a strap before 50. Trying to play me ain't your best decision. Listen, that ain't a rapper, that's a sex position. Everybody on the quest to be king, a lot of frontin' too. All these wannabe killers, but hey, that's nothing new. The vibration of these vocals all through ya. Ape, I break barrels, Donkey Sean Jr. And Slapbox, who oppose my reign. No fame yet, everybody knows my name. Cheers, when I step in the bar, I pop bottles. Party with the street hood rats and top models. Y'all be scraping up loose change, my dough lotto. Mega millions in my bank with gold. I just wanna be rich, I don't wanna be broke. Let me get my mind right, roll something to smoke. Kept my business low key, took a subtle approach. I was skipping jail time, still cutting it close. I could have been a victim of a drive-by. Stray bullets while I'm sitting on the sideline. Seeing brothers drop one by one, and the good die young. So I'm trying to make it out of the slums. I just wanna be rich. I just wanna be rich. Just wanna be rich. Fuck the fame. Fuck the cars. Jewelry. Fuck the clubs. But definitely not fuck.
It's WPRD 98.3 Khxng Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com for the global community. On the next go round, from right here to your time.
Y'all already know.
We out.